happy Frugal Friday to you. Today I'm doing a look and a review for you using the new L'Oreal La Palette Nude number 2 palette. Okay, in this palette you are given 10 eyeshadows. Many of them are matte. There are some shimmer shades included in here. Pigmentation is superb with these eyeshadows. I read some reviews online saying that they were powdery and hard to apply. I didn't experience that with any of these eyeshadows. I found them to be very buttery, easy to get onto the brush, easy to get them onto your lid. They blend so beautifully. In fact, they blend a little bit too well. You almost have to be careful with how you're blending once you apply them onto your eyes, because if you blend too much, then you can blend the color away. So they're a little touchy in that regard. Now, as far as how they last, I wore the first look that I did with this palette all day one day. And I think I went for about 15-16 hours with it on my eyes, and it looked just as good as when I had first applied it at the end of the day. There was no fading, no creasing, nothing like that. Very impressed with the longevity of these eyeshadows. Okay, now there is only one negative that I could find with this palette, and it really comes down to your own personal taste. But I feel like the eyeshadows in this palette are very similar to one another in color. When you swatch them on the back of your hand, you can see the different colors on your hand. But if you're not careful with how you apply them on the eyes, they can end up bleeding into one another and then looking like the same exact color all together on the eye, so it looks rather muddy at the end of the day. I experienced that with one look that I did this past week, but I did another look that was completely different. It didn't do that. So it really depends on how you pair the eyeshadows together in this palette. At any rate, for $15, you cannot beat the quality that you will find in this palette. It is worth it. If you're just starting out with eyeshadow, this is a great palette for you to try. Don't spend your money on the higher end palettes. Practice and learn with this one. I gotta say, I wish that they would have had something like this in the drugstore when I was first getting into makeup, but I digress. At any rate, I really love the look that I created with it, and I don't want to wash it off, even though I have to, because I have to go create more videos, so. But I hope you will enjoy the tutorial. It's a really stunning look, and I'll just have to put it on another time. Alrighty, first eyeshadows I'm taking from the palette are the second one right here, and the second to the last one right there. And the reason I'm using these two is because I changed my mind halfway through the look. So in an effort to kind of make it match over here, I'm mixing these two again. So I'm first taking that second shade in the palette, and I'm using the Sigma E25 blending brush, applying this into the crease. And I changed my mind after I applied it because I thought about it and I said, no, I don't really care for that. So that's why the layering. And then we're going back with that second eyeshadow here. A little bit goes a long way because this is such a pigmented color. And layering it over that first crease color. And then I'm taking a cleaner Sigma E25 brush, and I'm using the lightest pink, not pink, it's really more like a purple, but it's more like a blending shade. I'm taking that shade and using that to blend out the harsher edges of that crease color. And it is matte, so it's not going to leave you with a shimmery brow. For the next eyeshadow, I'm taking this one in the palette, and I'm using the Sonia Kashuk brush, what number is this? 106. And applying this onto the inner third of the lid. I applied a little bit too much there, so I'm going in with the Sigma E25 brush and I'm going to blend that out a little bit. And then I'm taking the darkest shade in the palette. It's a really pretty dark purple down here on the end, using the same Sonia Kashuk brush. I was going to say Sedona Lace. And I'm applying this onto the outer third of the lid and bringing it into the outer V a little bit too. These eyeshadows blend so nicely, but they can blend a little too much too at times where you lose the color that you just applied. So you have to be real careful with how you're using the brush when you apply these. Last eyeshadow that I'm using is the lightest one in the palette, that shimmery, I don't even know what it is. No, I have no words today. I'm just very bad at describing things today. Oh, and then I stuck my finger in the purple eyeshadow. Lovely! I'm taking the e.l.f. Makeup Mist and Setting Spray and spraying the brush to get this color to be really vibrant, because on its own it's not really as intense as I would like it to be. Come on, back in focus, camera. There you go. Alright, we're applying this onto the middle of the lid. And when you apply it wet, you just get a more intense version of that color. And I'm going to let it dry before I blend it. And then once it's dried, I'm going back and lightly going over the inner third of the lid there to get it to blend into that color, and then coming back out here. And all I'm really doing is tapping along the edges to get the colors to blend into one another. I don't really have anything on the brush. And for our final color application in this look, I'm going back with that dark purple, and I'm using a smudging brush, small one like that, to apply this onto the lash line. So we're really going to smoke out that lash line with this color. Very pigmented color too. You don't need much on the brush at all. Once I have a good amount deposited on the upper lash line there, I'm taking the remaining amount that's on the brush, I'm not going to add more to it, and just applying this on the lower lash line. The idea here is to give it a little bit of definition, but not to go overboard with it. For my lashes in this look, I'm using the new pair that I picked up from Salon Professional. They are number 614. You can get these at Walmart for about $2, I think, maybe $3. Can't remember. At any rate, they are uber perte. Perte. Face is done. Everything I used will be listed below. For my blush, I'm using the Milani Illuminating Blush, Baked Powder Blush, my bad, in Dolce Pink. And this is really pretty because it has some shimmer in it. Or I should say, shimmer. It's got shimmer. For my lips, I'm using two different lipsticks. I'm using Essence's Nude Love layered with Rimmel's Pink Blush.